Unfortunately, my situation is not unique. However, I did grow up in inner city Toledo, Ohio. Young, I dealt with mental, physical, verbal abuse, not from my mother at all, or my father. But those things did happen to me young. When we moved into the neighborhood that I ended up growing up in, I had to be about 4 years old. We moved over there in 1979. Around the 80s, when the crack epidemic hit, things got really different. And we talking like 83, 84, it got really different. Crack boom started taking over. The dope boys started popping up. My mother decided that she either did something or nothing, so she started block watching the area, which really made me as a kid unpopular. She also wasn't big on her son selling dope or joining a gang. She was adamant that her sons would not be involved in that. So there was a lot of tension there between the gangs. And back then, if you didn't join the gang, which is, I don't know if it's the same now, but if they would come at you, they would come after you. If you weren't with them, you were against them. If you were a young male in that area, there was no such thing as being a civilian, because they needed soldiers. So that created a lot of stress in my life, where I would find myself fighting on a regular basis to defend myself. And then as I got older and learned to defend myself even better, that created even more tension, because nobody really wants to get embarrassed in those situations. So there was one time in particular where the principal had came and got me out of school. I was a junior in high school, and he had asked me, was I involved in anything? And I told him no. And he said, well, they're receiving death threats saying if I leave the building that I'm going to be killed. So for about 2 months this went on, and I had to be escorted home. That same year, I had a situation where myself and 3 other friends were hanging out on the wrong side of town, come to find out, and a whole lot of neo-Nazis decided that they were going to come after us. And I specifically remembered the cars pulling up, and the getting the girls out of the cars, and they're sitting the girls up on top of their cars, and the girls are clapping, saying, "Woo, kill the N-words." They're pulling out bats and chains, and it's 4 of us. That was a day. I'll just leave that at that. That same calendar year, I was with my cousin and 2 other friends, which again, it was a situation where there were 4 of us. And we were going to go to the movies. There used to be a dollar theater. And one of the guys would say, hey, I think one of the people from school is having a party at this particular hall that you could rent. He said, it's either tonight or tomorrow. And this was a Friday night. He said, if it's not tonight, we know it's tomorrow. So we go, and definitely wasn't the party. It's actually the wedding of some Ku Klux Klan members. And yet again, that situation did not end well. I still have permanent physical scars to this day from that altercation. Those things mentioned and other things not mentioned led to a diagnosis of PTSD. First and foremost, I'm a law enforcement officer, so I'm serving my community through that. While doing that, I was on the SRT, which is the Special Response Team, aka SWAT team. Went from that to become a crisis negotiator, which used to be known as hostage negotiator. I teach in the Citizens Police Academy. I do any community involved event that I have time for when it comes about in the community with regards to my law enforcement career. Within the Citizens Police Academy, I do cultural diversity, and one of those cultures I do is the culture of first responders. Staying on task with first responders, there's a training called tactical communication that, thanks to my wife, I was introduced to through a community called Bridges Out of Poverty, through AHA process and the Lucas County Impact Coalition. So tactical communication is based off of Bridges Out of Poverty, written by Jody Farr and Dr. Ruby Payne. What tactical communication does is it teaches first responders to stop looking at the areas that we serve based on either an incorrect ideology, an implicit bias, based on a race or religion, and really pay attention to the socioeconomic status of the area. That's important because it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or Hispanic. Poor is poor. And the same hidden rules and languages apply. We can pick out small little, nuances that are different. However, when it comes to the foundation, the hidden rules and languages of poverty are all the same as well as middle class and as well as wealth, regardless of age, race, or gender. So if we can learn the hidden rules and languages of these areas based on the socioeconomic status of that area, instead of worrying about what someone looks like or who they pray to, then we can better serve our communities. Not only if we know those hidden rules and languages, if we're able to implement them, if we're able to go from a middle class community and understand this is the thought pattern to an under-resourced community, understand, okay, this is the thought pattern, we might stop having so many, premature arrests, or we might have better follow-ups on some of these medical emergency calls, things of that nature, because we'll better understand what's going on in the area, and we'll better understand what is and is not offensive. So I really like that. Now, on another note for that, I'm currently the only person in Ohio that is certified to train this. I just recently got into the country's largest tactical conference to teach basically learn and lecture-based material, which is amazing. On another note with that, the author of the book, Jody Farr, she's retiring. She's done this for a really long time. She's ready to retire, and she gave me the blessing, along with Dr. Ruby Payne and AHA Processes, to move forward with this material. Now, moving forward with this material, I also will be instrumental in writing the new curriculum to train the trainer, which is very important coming from a first responder mind thought and process. So I'm very excited about that. Also do community organizing of events. I do a lot of things with Block Watch, as far as community roundtable events. I've served for the DART unit, which is the Drug Abuse Response Team, which we helped with the opiate crisis while I served with them for a couple of years. I've joined the Toledo Buffalo Soldiers, and what we are is a non-profit organization that is, and I'm actually on my way to a Buffalo Soldier event now at one of the elementary schools, my wife and I. Yes, my vest is in the back. So what we're doing is we're serving the community by way of letting them know about the Buffalo Soldiers that served between 1866 and 1944. We're also serving our community by helping the elderly, shut-in veterans, and youth. This past Veterans Day, we delivered over 230 meals to shut-in veterans. I got to meet an actual World War II veteran. He was 95. We've adopted a couple of schools, and we help with uniforms, scholarships, going to functions. We just took them to a Harlem Globetrotter game. We just did Project Thanks at the Senior Center and that ran from November 18th through December 31st, where our whole point was thank you to our elderly community, because without them, paving the way for us, we wouldn't be here. So these are some of the things that, within the community I do. But as you can see, and I just passed where I was going, as you can see, to me, it's not as much. We're going to continue to do more. And as we grow and do more, hopefully it will make a difference. As of right now, I believe that a lot of things we're doing is making a difference. Actually, at the Senior Center with the Project Thanks that we did, I was telling a lady and her husband how we got to deliver a meal to a World War II veteran who was 95, and it actually happened to be her father. And she said he was extremely grateful to be able to get a meal of his choice on that day. We delivered Christmas baskets on Christmas with a full Christmas dinner with whole hams and whole turkeys and all the sides, and not in cans, not already cooked. They wanted to be able to cook their own food, so we are going to make sure that they get those baskets. We're also delivering baskets after the holiday, so people know that they're not forgotten about.